All right, so we're recording this session. It's 1 hour in length. I will be sending everybody who's registered today a PDF of today's slides, so no problems. You could review those slides if you want and share them with others in your region, state, or nation. I'll send you a link to the recorded session as we're recording it right now, and 1 hour and a certificate for 1 hour CEU. So this is a webinar we provide every year, once or twice, and it's essentially highlighting perhaps our most popular programs, the one session evidence-based sport prevention plus wellness program, which is for youth, and the one session evidence-based InShape prevention plus wellness program, which is for young adults. And both of these address primarily alcohol, other substance use as well, a little bit, and they integrate, obviously, the prevention of substance use, as the name indicates, with the promotion of protective wellness behaviors, that being physical activity and sports, breakfast and other nutrition, sleep, and even stress control. So these are great programs. They're used across the country, all 50 states and abroad. As you can see, there's a real interest in other countries. And I'm going to walk you through the programs themselves, what's in the program, what's the content, and we'll look at also what's available in terms of training if you want to become trained as a program implementer. And we can do that very easily with our online training. So this is what we're going to cover today. These are again, very, very popular programs. And these programs, SPORT InShape PPW programs, that's prevention plus wellness, were the foundation for all of our other subsequent programs, those that address marijuana, such as the marijuana PPW program, opioid PPW program, vaping, which is our e-cigarette PPW program, our family-based programs, our faith-based program in God's Image, which is free. Just go to our website and download it. Our racial justice program, racial justice PPW, our Sport 2 program, I think I've mentioned them all, but we're going to focus today on sport and InShape. So let's take a look at the objectives for today's session. We're going to be exploring the contents and steps for implementing sport and InShape PPW. Actually, the implementation steps are pretty much the same across all PPW programs. So if we show you how to implement one program, you know how to implement all programs, although program content and some little issues are different from program to program. So we're going to be talking about sport, which is for high school and middle school and elementary school, 3 versions, and InShape, which is for young adults. These programs are being used at almost any setting you can think of where there's young people. So schools, after schools, in between schools, sports, recreation, clubs, YMCAs, boys and girls clubs, juvenile justice, colleges, U.S. Air Force is using InShape. I don't know if at home, these programs are being used all over the country, as I said, and wherever there's young people. Very, very flexible. So number 2, we're going to examine the scripts and the PowerPoint slides that are provided in these 2 programs, Sport and InShape PPW, and show you how you can implement these to youth in a group, that's 2 or more individuals, as well as to youth individually, in person, as well as online. So you can do all of that with the program materials that you get from PPW. And thirdly, we're going to review the built-in evaluation tools and training opportunities if you're interested in learning a little bit more about that. So this is the sport program from left to right, high school, middle school, elementary school. We actually have a version 2 of it, but it's very similar to this. And they were just updated at the end of last year. This is actually a shot of the cover page of your program manual. You get a program manual, and you also get a link to your digital download of your PowerPoint slides that you present during your single session Sport and InShape program. And you get a PDF or Word doc of all of your reproducible materials, screening surveys, goal plans, parent materials, etc. So you don't have to go out and purchase anything else beyond this single purchase of your program manual, because it comes with that digital download. So what is sport? Sport's evidence-based. That means it's, from our perspective, that means it's been evaluated, and those evaluation data have been published in refereed scientific publications. And then and only then has it been listed on a whole bunch of evidence-based registries like NREP, which is now defunct, but Blueprints for Healthy Youth Development, and on. All kinds of evidence-based registries, federal, state, etc. Many times you'll see Sport and InShape listed on those. So sport, evidence-based, proven, at least by the research that we have conducted over the years and others, to prevent particularly alcohol and cigarettes and marijuana, and statistically increasing physical activity among both non-using and substance-using youth. So your sport PBW program targets alcohol and other drugs, but also, as I said, physical activity and sports and nutrition and sleep and stress control. And that's pretty much the case for most of Prevention Plus Wellness programs. Sport is a single session program. You can implement it in a setting in 45 minutes, I would say, 45 minutes, or you could stretch it to longer, and you could expand it to multiple sessions if you want. It's a screening and brief intervention, and that means it's an evidence-based practice. SAMHSA, the Substance Abuse Mental Health Services Administration, a whole bunch of other federal, state, and international organizations have identified screening and brief interventions as evidence-based practice. And that's what sport is. That's what InShape is. That's what all PPW programs are, screening and brief interventions, but they're prevention oriented. So that's the unique aspect. And they integrate the promotion of protective wellness behaviors with the prevention of alcohol and other drugs. So very unique programs, PPW programs are. The sport is implemented like all PPW programs with slides that you get with your program. Again, you get in your manual a script to implement it to youth one-on-one, individually, or in a group. So it's scripted. That makes that cuts training time down, and we can do training very quickly online, self-paced, or live if you want, or in person if you want. Although we've been doing a lot more online training because of COVID, obviously. But cuts down on training because you have a script, and the script is a beautiful thing because if you implement it, if I implement it, if we implement it today, tomorrow, next 5 years from now, it's the same program if you follow the script. So it really does help improve fidelity and replicability of implementation. That's the script. All PPW programs are based on a wellness theory. It's called the Behavior Image Model, BIM. The sport program comes with optional parent materials. Although we do now have parent training programs, your sport program comes with a letter for parents and 4 weekly flyers. I'm going to go through all of this with you today. You have a manual, reproducible materials, as I mentioned, and there's built in within your PowerPoint slides the ability to present your lesson virtually on Zoom like we're doing today, or Microsoft Teams, or whatever you want. So very flexible, and so you could really have a public health reach. In other words, you can really reach almost every youth with this essential prevention message, this broad prevention plus wellness message for youth, which is so desperately needed among young people. Here's your table of contents. These are the 8 sections of your table of contents in your sport program. I'm going to walk you through all the materials in sport and give you a little sample of everything so you can see what they are. Sport and all PBW programs follow a 3-step screening and brief intervention process. Step 1, you screen youth for their current health habits. For sport, it's going to include alcohol, but it's going to also include physical activity in sports in the last year, regular sports of physical activity, breakfast and nutrition, sleep. InShape also includes stress control. So you screen youth for their health habits, and this is designed to increase their awareness of their habits. Then you follow it up with step 2, which is you provide feedback on each of those health behaviors. You use positive image terms like fit and active, healthy, successful, and that increases motivation for change. That is designed to cue unconsciously in the mind of the young people a future desirable image of themselves. And actually, it's an image that we all want of our youth and of our own selves: fit and active, healthy, successful, etc. So these are things that are universally desired. And you use these terms, you use this communication to increase motivation for change. And then you talk about at the same time how alcohol or cannabis or e-cigarettes or whatever, depending on the program you have, but sport is alcohol primarily, how alcohol harms your chances, your ability to engage in these wellness behaviors and achieve these benefits, including these positive self-identities. That's step 2, feedback. Step 3 is you then walk you through goal setting. This is the action piece. This initiates behavior change. And what you're doing here is you're walking you through setting concrete goals, monitoring them over time. And again, that's going to increase over time self-regulation or self-control skills, which are so desperately needed among young people, particularly high-risk young people. So this is very, very good stuff. The action piece, that third piece, that goal setting, not just limited to avoiding substance use, but also promoting protective wellness behaviors. So that's a 3-step process: screening, feedback, goal setting. That's what you'll see in all prevention plus wellness programs, because there are screening and brief interventions. Motivational intervention designed to motivate behavioral change, avoid substance use, and increase protective wellness behaviors. So your sport program will include these components here. You can see you've got directions, and you've got your screening survey, your goal plan, and all kinds of tools. We're going to go through all these today. So you got a lot of things that come with your program manual and with your digital download. These are your steps for implementing your sport or any prevention plus wellness program. So these are there's actually 2 pages of steps. We've got it identified as 14 steps, but you can see what they are. Practicing your script becomes very important. Obviously, even prior to that, having some instruction, having either an online or an on-site training is really important. Even though the programs are scripted, very good idea to get that training so that you could really make the best of your program, get the most of your program. So number 1, you practice your scripts. There's 2 scripts. Again, a script for the individual implementation and another for group. If you wish to do any tailoring of your slides, you're welcome to do that. We discussed that in on the training for program implementers. You make copies of your program materials, screening surveys, goal plans, maybe a pre and post test, whatever you need. You administer your pre-test, and we have 2 versions of that pre-test we'll talk about, and you implement your program. You follow your script. I'm on step number 5. So you're implementing your script, you're following your script, you're reading it to them, but not really reading it, because after you practice it, you'll be able to hold your manual, glance down at it, and really focus on your youth and emphasize positive communication, enthusiasm, and passion, and good communication presentation skills. Number 6, you walk your youth through the goal plan. And number 7, you'll implement your post-test. Now, the pre and the post-tests are optional, but really, I mean, how much easier can it be? We created a pre and a post-test that you can implement literally during your lesson, both online version and a paper version. So really, it's a great opportunity for you as the instructor to monitor your program. And it's very focused. So you as the instructor will learn how you do with implementing your program in your setting. So it's very rare to have that kind of data so that you can promote your program and improve it over time. But we make it possible by creating these pre and post test surveys. You could measure risk and protective factor changes. You can measure behavioral changes if you want. And all that's a possibility because we offer these for you. We offer support for your evaluation free of charge. Number 8, you're going to remind your participants to take their goal plan contract home, post it, and watch their behaviors for 7 days. Then with the sport program, you can use the parent flyers, these 4 weekly flyers, to get parents involved, presenting the same positive image communication that you did. So it's a good reinforcement for you. If you want to use this extra intervention in your sport program, that is the parent intervention, a letter to parents and 4 weekly flyers. And I'll show you that as well. Number 10, now is a good time for you to complete your instructor survey. That's another evaluation tool in your toolkit provided by Sport. And this is a self-assessment of your quality of implementing your lesson. And if you complete this instructor survey at the end of every lesson, you'll be able to track, monitor, and maintain a high level quality of presentation over time. Number 11, we have a fidelity checklist, another great evaluation tool. Number 12, if you collect papers pre and post surveys, then you're going to, at this point, you can enter your data into a online survey, which we could send you the link to, so that you can analyze your data, and we'll give you a hand with that. If you collected your data using online surveys, either by showing the links to these surveys to your youth before and after the program, or showing them a QR code so they could just point the camera of their device on it and open it up and complete it, you don't have to enter any data. It's a beautiful thing to use online surveys. Number 13, you simply email us, say, hey, I'd like to look at my data for my evaluation. We'll send it to you. We'll send you the charts from SurveyMonkey. We'll send you the raw data. And then do sign up on our website, preventionpluswellness.com, so you're kept up to date with the latest revisions of programs, additions, free resources, discounts, research about prevention and wellness, and integrated interventions, etc. So those are the steps for implementation. Now let's take a look at the content in sport. So remember what I said, 3 parts to all PPW programs: screening, feedback, and goal setting, okay? So first of all, your sport program, what we're looking at now is the high school version. There is a middle school and an elementary school version too. And notice we're looking at I'm looking at the left side of your screen here, the group feedback lesson script. So we're presenting this to a group of youth. That means 2 or more. And this is the introduction. And so you can see it to the right. There's your script. You literally read the script and you're just introducing the program to them, the sport program. And together, we're going to look at how this content can make you feel better and look better and improve your performance in physical activities and school and even relationships. So that's it. That's what you do. You're going to get your participants excited because you're excited and you're trying to motivate them to change their lifestyle, to improve their lifestyle. And that's the introduction, very brief. And then you could add to that if you want to. Now we're going right in from the introduction into the screening survey. That's step 1 of your 3-step intervention process. And so now take out your copy of the screening survey, and you will have made copies of your screening survey from your digital download. You just hand them out, maybe hand out some pencils and pens if your kids are not prepared. And you're going to read the script to have them complete the screening survey and do so honestly. That's for them. They're going to take it. You're not going to collect it necessarily. They're going to take it home and throw it away. It's just to increase their awareness of their health habits. Okay, that's the screening survey. That's step 1, and you literally give them a screening survey, and it's a very brief, 5 items, 6 items, 7 items at most. Takes a couple of minutes for youth to complete that. And so let's take a look at the screening survey. What kinds of items are on it? Here's one item. Again, this is the Sport PPW high school program. What sports and physical activities did you play in the last year? There's a long list. an option for others to list, including any kind of regional sports, any kind of work or chores around the house or for somebody else. You want to give youth credit for moving their bodies. That's physical activity and sports. That's one. Number two is regular physical activity, 30 minutes 4 or 5 times a week. 3, do your friends influence you to participate in regular physical activity? That's a social, emotional, a social, environmental item. 4, do you usually eat a healthy breakfast, such as, and the more servings of different food, the better, like yogurt, fruit, and eggs, etc. So, and then there's also a question about sleep. There's a question about alcohol use, and that's it. Very, very brief screening survey. Now, so after your youth have completed that screening survey, now you're going to provide feedback. You can provide feedback on each one of those screening survey items, starting with this first one. What sports or physical activities did you play in the last year? So here's your script. Look to the right, and you'll see bracketed information. So the bracket information is just instruction for you as the provider, as the instructor. So it reminds you, it gives you instruction. And the content here is, if you're going to implement your, I'm sorry, little, I went to some other page in my mind, but here's the instruction. It helps to read it, by the way. So you're going to ask your group to raise their hand if they've engaged in any of these physical activities in the last year. And the reason you're doing this is you're promoting the positive social norm. My peers and my friends are physically active. That promotes physical activity, and which is so critical, by the way. You know, the beauty of sport and LPPW programs is that you're addressing behaviors that are lacking in your average youth in America that are associated with chronic disease development, sedentary lifestyle, too much screen time, inadequate physical activity, not eating breakfast, not eating fruits and vegetables, not getting 8 or more hours of sleep. These behaviors are, you're not going to share this with youth, but they're the norm. The lack of these behaviors are the norm for American youth. So really, we want to promote these behaviors, promote those positive images and identities associated with them, and then say, by the way, alcohol and drugs interferes with those positive behaviors and benefits and images. So that's what you're doing with your sport and other PPW programs. So anyway, that's what you're doing. Feedback, this is the first part of your feedback. There's a slide repeating the question, what sports or physical activities did you play in the last year? And then what you're going to do is you're just going to go down the list. Who played any baseball, softball? Raise your hand. Even in the last 12 months, all the way back a whole year. Even if you just played catch, raise your hand. Who played basketball? It could be on a league, but it could be just dribbling a ball, shooting a basketball in your, you know, in your backyard or in a court anywhere. Who did that in the last 12 months? Raise your hand. Who rode a bicycle? So you're going to go down all this list. And so a lot of hands are going to be raised because you're including any physical activity, any sport, any chores or work. And that's going to promote that social norm message. My peers and my friends are physically active. After that, you're going to provide a comment on the benefits of sports and physical activities. Good for you. Sports and physical activities are a great way to get regular exercise. Sports and physical activities are fun. They help you look fit and strong. Those are two really good image generating visual terms. Feel good about yourself, give you lots of energy, etc. So you can see you present this with a lot of energy yourself. That's the benefits of sports and physical activity. That's the first part of your messaging. The second part, which, by the way, there's the actual slide. This is for the visual learner. That's why you show these slides to that one youth or to the group of youth. And you'll see content. You'll see, you know, the words themselves, fit and strong, energy, fun. And we show lots and lots of different pictures of different ethnicities, different activities, both genders, etc., so that they see representations of themselves, in this case, the basketball playing. So that's the first step of this two-step messaging process: benefits and images associated with sports physical activities or nutrition or sleep or whatever. And then the second part is how substance use, particularly in this case, alcohol and other drugs in that order, harms your ability to be physically active and to obtain those benefits and those desirable identities. However, an active lifestyle and alcohol do not mix. Using too much alcohol can hurt your performance in sports and physical activities in school. It could even have a negative impact on your health and your relationships, etc. So really, really good content where you're linking substance use as being harmful after you've cued these positive images and benefits from a wellness behavior. There's the slide that goes along with that content, and there's an image and very, very positive content you're presenting to your youth. Other feedback topics will be the topics, the behaviors that were listed on the screening survey. Regular physical activity norms, breakfast and nutrition, getting adequate sleep, and then alcohol and drugs. When you get to the alcohol and drug topics, there's more content there because you're addressing more risk and protective factors. So you can see what you're addressing. You're talking about how alcohol can harm fitness and health, how it can cause life problems, alcohol myths. Most youth do not use alcohol, which is you're trying to correct the social norm overestimation of young people where they think all their peers are using substances. You're going to correct that, etc. So there's all the topics of alcohol and drug use that you'll be presenting in your sport high school program. And then you'll be presenting recommendations for increasing wellness. Notice we're not focusing just on alcohol with number 5, but you're saying, hey, most important, avoid alcohol, but also avoid these other substances, which can be harmful and prevent you from being the best version of yourself. And starting with number 1, get plenty of sleep. Number 2, eat healthy breakfast and eat lots of healthy foods, especially fruits and vegetables, which are, by the way, lacking in your average diet of your average American adolescent. Number 3, plenty of physical activity. It could be in small spurts, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or larger, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, but move your body. And number 4, we've added stress control to that as well. So really good recommendations from you as the instructor to your participating youth. We also have built into the slides discussion questions. The purpose of these is to have youth stop and to think, how does this relate to me? How is this impacting or could impact or should impact me and my lifestyle and my behaviors? For example, what types of healthy foods do you like to eat or would you like to eat more of? So this is the discussion question, obviously, when you provide feedback on breakfast and nutrition. You're going to pause, you're going to let your youth think about this and answer to themselves, and then if you have time for your presentation, you could call on some participants and have them answer aloud. At the end of the feedback, you've reached your 3rd step. Remember, screening, feedback, goal setting, and you're going to walk your youth through the goal plan. The goal plan has a number of components, the recommendations for wellness, which we just saw. You're going to have your youth pledge to avoid alcohol and drug use in the next 7 days. And number 3, write a measurable wellness goal. To write a goal in one healthy area to increase their wellness behavior. It could be, again, anything related to sleep. And when I say anything related to sleep, I'm not talking about their goal may be to have 8 hours of sleep or 8.5 hours or 9 hours, but how they get there is another thing. So you as an instructor will help them set goals. And those goals may include, very importantly, shutting off their electronic device at a certain time at night, which would keep them up and would prevent them from achieving their goals of sleeping more, or setting a time to go to bed, a regular time every night. 10, 10:30, 11. So these are things you're going to walk them through in the goal setting and help them with a measurable goal. They're going to sign it. You're going to co-sign it to make it a contract and increase motivation. You're going to show them the calendar log, 7-day calendar log, and then congratulate them and instruct them to take this home, take this contract, this goal plan home, post it, and watch your behaviors for the next 7 days. Okay, that's your goal plan. Really important for youth to initiate that behavior change and to shape their behaviors over time. Now, your screening survey and your goal plan, you have some options here. You have a hard copy, which I've discussed already, and you can make, just print out copies of it from your digital download and hand it out. But your slides also have a virtual version. So there's a link in your slides where if you presented your lesson virtually, let's say you had to because of the pandemic, or maybe you want to because you want to reach more youth that are not physically near you, you present your lesson online, Zoom, Microsoft Teams, etc. You show them the link, you show them the slide to the link to the screening survey. They click on it from where they're joining the lesson, and that goes to a screening survey and they can complete it. Same with the goal plan. So you can implement your lesson virtually as easily as you can in person. And you even have an online link to a follow-up goal plan. If you want to give that as a post-lesson assignment, you want to say, hey, here's a link. Write a goal plan for the second week or the third week or the fourth week. You could share that goal plan link with other teachers, coaches, parents, etc. How do you present your lesson individually? Let's say you've got to present your lesson, or you want to present your lesson to one youth at a time. This is a very powerful strategy. It's the key difference between the individual script and the group script is your individual script is going to be tailored. The feedback you present is going to be tailored depending on how they answer each of the screening survey questions. So tailoring, we know, can increase the efficacy of an intervention. So it's possible that if you present your lesson individually, that could increase its efficacy. So if you can implement your sport or any PPW program individually, we highly recommend you do that. It can be done again in 45 minutes, 50 minutes, but obviously the group script is more efficient. That's where you're implementing it to multiple youth at the same time. So you've got that option. If you can implement it individually, do so. If you can't, implement it to a group. I would say, and by the way, this could be general population, all youth, or it could be high-risk youth. So if your youth was caught drinking on campus, you could implement your PPW program individually to that higher risk youth. I think that's really a good strategy, actually, if you have higher risk youth, implementing your program to them individually. Again, if you can't, you can use the group script. Here's the individual script. So what you're going to do is you're going to either collect the screening survey from them and look at how they answered each item, or when you show your slides and those screening survey items come up again, like did you engage, what physical activities did you do in the last year? And if they said they did some, you'll read the yes response. Yes is green, good, go. And you can say, oh, I see you participated in biking and walking. And then the response is going to be good for you. Fantastic. Congratulations. If they didn't get physical activity, or if they didn't eat breakfast, they didn't sleep 8 hours, or they used alcohol, then it would be the no response. No is high risk. And so it's going to be, here's your response. I see that you may not have played sports, physical activities. You can really improve how well you feel, and your health might be just a little bit more active. So that's how you present your individual script. It's going to be tailored to how they respond either to the screening survey items, either verbally, or you look at how they responded and answered the screening survey items. And you're going to present this feedback. It's either going to be positive, congratulations, good for you, or it's going to be neutral. Looks like you may not be doing this or doing that. you can really improve this is a great opportunity for you to take your life up to the next level, to improve yourself a little bit. So that's how you present feedback if you present your lesson to individual youth. By the way, I know I'm going through a lot of content. I'm going through pretty quickly, and it may be confusing for some of you. So if you have questions, type it in the chat space, type it in the Q&A space, and I'll look at it when we're done with the slides. Let's talk about evaluation. You've got 3 key evaluation tools: your pre-test, post-test surveys, which will measure your outcomes of your program and monitor outcomes; your instructor survey, which measures process or quality of implementation; and your fidelity checklist to assess level of program fidelity, which is important for evidence-based programs. Just taking a look at your pre and post test, you've got 2 options. One option is, and by the way, within this option, you have an online version if you want it, or a paper version of an immediate pre-post risk and protective survey, factors survey. So this pre and post test is designed because you're implementing it immediately before the lesson and after your sport lesson. Within that period, that you can't measure behavioral change, but you can measure risk and protective factor change. So that's what you're doing with that survey. Very efficient. You can collect it. You don't have to follow up with youth. And you have an option to use the online version, which has some advantages. Again, you don't have to enter your data. Data quality or honesty is probably a little bit better because youth feel their responses are more confidential. But you can also hand out a paper version because that's in your digital download. So that's one version of your pre-post survey, the immediate pre-post risk and protective factor survey. The second version, number 2, is only in an online version, and it's called the health behavior survey. You implement this at pre-test before the lesson. It could be sometime before or immediately before, and then you implement it 1 or 2 or 3 months after the lesson. So you have to go back to your youth and have them complete, show them the link or show them the QR code, have them fill it out, and you have to follow up that way a month or 2 or 3 months later, because this health behavior survey includes measures not only of risk and protective factors, but 30-day behavioral measures. And it includes measures not just of a single risk factor, not just of a single substance use like alcohol, but 5 substances: alcohol, e-cigarettes, cigarettes, marijuana, opioids, and at least 6, if not more, health promoting behaviors: sports and physical activities, breakfast, fruits and vegetable consumption, sleep, stress control, goal setting. So really, really good content. That's why when we do our training for our providers, that we really encourage using the health behavior survey. If you can, again, it requires you to come back after you've implemented your sport lesson, at least a month later. And so that's the difference. You got the online or paper immediate pre-post risk and protective factor survey, or you've also got the online health behavior survey. Both surveys measure behavioral intentions, perceived harmfulness, social norms. Those are the risk and protective factors. Okay, that's your pre-test and post-test survey options with your sport and other PPW programs. Your instructor survey, as I think I mentioned before, is your self-assessment tool. You should complete this at the end of every implementation of your sport program. It assesses 7 aspects of high quality presentation, like level of enthusiasm and passion. You want to get to the highest level, and you could track yourself. You can even use this instructor survey when you practice your script before you start implementing it. So practice reading your script aloud, take your instructor survey, complete it. How well did you do? You know what you can work on, and practice again. And so that you can get all of these 7 indicators of high quality presentation up to as high a level as possible before you launch your program. So, and this instructor survey can also be used by a manager or supervisor as an observational tool to watch you implement your lesson or practice implementing it and give you positive feedback. Your parent flyers in your sport program Separate intervention includes a letter, which you can co-brand. You can put your name on, your company's logo, and 4 weekly flyers designed to get parents and caregivers to provide the same positive image communication that you're giving to youth in whatever setting you're providing your lesson to youth. So these flyers can be emailed out, posted on your website, handed out to youth, mailed, snail mail, whatever you want to do. And here's what they look like. Here's the high school version. You've got an introduction, you've got a conclusion, but this is the core of it right here, what you're looking at, the health and fitness facts. And you're giving parents in a checklist format some things that consider to say to their youth that's positive about sports, about nutrition, about sleep, and how alcohol and drugs interferes with that, and some other tips as well. Keep an eye on your kids, et cetera, et cetera. Really, really good content. We did one evaluation of 3 of the 4 parent flyers and found them to be effective in preventing alcohol and marijuana use among youth. So it's a good optional intervention. That's the parent letter and flyers. They're meant to be sent out and communicated on a weekly basis for over a month's period, 4 weeks in a row. And it's a completely separate intervention. Your key intervention, your primary intervention, is your screening, feedback, and goal setting with your youth. Parent flyers is a great tool to follow up with as a second intervention. We have a whole bunch of resources on our website. If you've not been to our website and checked out our resources, please, please, please do. They're great content for all of you, whether you use our programs or not. What you do is you go to preventionpluswellness.com and look at our menu and go to resources. And there you can see some of the items. You could see how to promote your prevention program. You can see how to tailor it and evaluate it. There's logic model. Number 6, healthy lifestyle guidelines, is one of our most popular pages on our website. That talks about and shares with you evidence-informed information on key health behaviors of youth. So, for example, we've talked about physical activity. What's the requirement for physical activity? It is 1 hour a day for youth ages, I think, 6 through 18, a combination of aerobic or cardio with bone strengthening and muscle strengthening exercise. That's an hour a day minimum, and there's sources for that. And I think we give 2 CDC sources, Centers for Disease Control Prevention. So we have recommendations for nutrition, for sleep, for et cetera, for youth. Really good feedback on their healthy lifestyle guidelines for goal setting. Number 7, youth, teacher, and parent resources. Tons of great resources for you as the instructor. You could share with parents, you could share with youth, you could share with coaches, and it addresses many of the target behaviors of sport and other PPW programs: physical activity, nutrition, sleep, stress control, goal setting, spirituality, even, and marijuana and e-cigarettes. Good content under that item number 7. So those are some of our resources. Just to let you take a look at it, here's the elementary school version of sport, just so you can see what the difference is between high school and elementary school. A little bit simpler questions. And there it is. So you can see the images, very important. There's the difference. You know, you wouldn't want to give this to the high school kids. There's great pictures of these cute elementary school kids engaged in these wellness behaviors. And there they are. And I love the elementary school version of sport and all of our programs, because we've got these great pictures of these little guys, and they're very, very cute. And we want them to see pictures of themselves, models of themselves having fun and engaged in these wellness behaviors. The InShape program, on the other hand, is for young adults, and it's a little bit different, has a little bit more content, but still a lot of similarities, because it's the same model as the sport model. It's the same screening, feedback, goal setting model. You have your scripts in your manual to implement your program to one young adult or to a group of young adults. And by the way, as I mentioned before, InShape is being implemented in all different kinds of settings: college campuses, community organizations, U.S. military, etc. It can be implemented in about 60 minutes, screening, feedback, and goal setting. Same behavior image wellness theory underlying it. You get your manual with your digital download, and you can easily implement it both in person or online, and it's a single session intervention. And it does have one key difference in that there's a little bit of more content on stress control. This is an evidence-based program found to prevent alcohol and cannabis use, including heavy alcohol use and heavy cannabis use, which I think is really important in terms of health of young adults. Drinking and driving, some of these effects even a year later, that goes for both SPORT and InShape. Increasing physical activity, sleep, health-related quality of life, great outcomes from InShape. So a little bit different, you've got different screening survey questions. Look at number 1, it's measuring moderate physical activity. Question number 2, measuring vigorous physical activity or exercise. Question 3, rather than measuring breakfast like SPORT does, it measures something called nutrient-dense foods, which is, so again, a little bit more information and instruction in the InShape program. Sleep, and then stress control, and then binge drinking is included as well. And that's the InShape screening survey. Now, here's the slide to most days a week that you engage in moderate or vigorous physical activity. I'm sorry, vigorous exercise. And there's even a definition. There's sweating and breathing hard, such as. There's the images and the content, the images and the benefits. Notice there's a little bit more content there, but nonetheless, you get the content, you get the writing. It's in your script. So your script is a little bit longer with InShape than it is with SPORT. And then here's how alcohol and tobacco and other drugs interferes with being vigorously active. And that's the InShape program. Okay, just a very quick overview of it. We do have a number of training opportunities. We just launched a brand new self-paced online training. We're currently also still offering the live online training. So those are the two that you'd be most interested in, I think. And we have training to become a program implementer, and training to become a trainer if you want to train others to implement the PPW program, SPORT or InShape or whatever, in your region. And we also have free webinars. So do go to preventionpluswellness.com and drop in your email. So if you want to learn more, go to our website. There's our catalog. I'll send you these slides so you can click on these and go directly to see these. The catalog to request a sample of any of our programs. There's our website, preventionpluswellness.com. Our email is info at preventionpluswellness.com, and our phone number 904-472-5022. That's where we're at right here in St. Augustine, Florida. So thank you so much. Let me see if anybody had any questions or comments. I'm going to Q&A first. Is it possible to enlarge your screen, please? I wish I'd have seen that earlier. It's as large as it can go, outside of taking these little bit of borders off. So I apologize if it wasn't large enough for you. My good news, I'll be sending you these slides so you can look at them in any size you want. So thanks for that comment. I'm going to go back here to make sure I didn't miss any questions. Let's see here. If the QR code is placed on the screen, can students use their phone to answer it during Zoom? Yes, they can. So during Zoom or during an in-person class even, that's possible. So let's take first the virtual. So if you're presenting your lesson virtually, you can, you just request it from us. If you have one of our programs, we'll send you a customized link and a customized QR code just for your organization. You could show the link in your chat space, for example, or you could show the QR code in a chat space, and they could either click on it or they could take a picture of it. Okay. If you're presenting your lesson in person, same thing. You could email them the link, or they could type it in, although that becomes a little bit cumbersome. Easier for you to just show them the QR code. And if they have a device with them, some schools now give, especially the older adolescents, high school kids, their own tablets. They could show that, they could point their camera at the QR code, or their phones, their smartphones for that matter, and it'll open up and they can complete their pre-test and post-test. So simple as that. So yes, and we could send you customized links and QR codes to make your data, your pre and your post-test data collection easier, and most likely improve the quality of the responses. Let's see, everything was very clear, great information, effective information. Thank you, my pleasure. All right, any other questions, any comments? Last chance to do it. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you all for what you do in your regions, in your states and nations. God bless you for what you do. And if there's any way we can help promote the whole health of your youth, your young adults, from children to young adolescents to older adolescents to young adults, let us know. Check out our website. And if we can partner with you in any way to promote, again, the mental and physical health of your youth, we'd love to do that. All right, you'll be hearing from me today. No need to email me. I'll be sending you an email if you've registered, and you'll receive everything you need: PDF slides, a link to the recorded session, and a certificate for 1 hour CEU. Thanks, everyone. Have a great afternoon. Keep up the good work. Stay safe out there, and do stay in touch. Thank you. Bye-bye.